Hi everyone and welcome to my channel.
I was like a mouse.
Hi. I'm here under duress. Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. I'm Simon of Savage Reads and Pip's back.
I'm back.
Because after our catch-up video you'll have seen a week or so ago, we are back with our conversation about The Girl in the Green Dress by Cath Staincliffe. Before we talk about that, we just wanted to say we've started planning 2019, haven't we? A little bit. We're hopefully going to have a special guest with us talking about their book and also a book that we're going to read next. And we're hoping to do a few more videos with authors. We've got a couple potentially lined up, so that's going to be really good fun. But also we'd really like to know what you'd like to see with Crime Time. Would you like some catch-up videos like the one we did before, as well as our, we're not going to say monthly, it's more realistically bi-monthly, tri-monthly book groups where we talk about the same book together? Or would you like a kind of amalgamation of the two? Let us know all your thoughts. I actually had text Pip and was like, Pip, do you still want to do it in 2019?
And I said no, and then he paid me a lot of money, so I said yes.
Just a lot of pasta. She's paid in pasta. At the end we'll be announcing what our next read is, so we're not doing it now, but we'll also talk about this book without spoilers. Then we'll tell you to be gone for a little bit, and then we'll tell you to come back when we're done with the spoilers, and then when we share the next book. Did that make sense? That felt like
Absolutely made sense.
This was my choice, The Girl with the Green Dress.
Yeah.
Oh no, actually no, I think it was kind of yours.
It was, I'd picked off one of your shelves
in an early video
ago, and then it kind of came back.
And I can remember why you'd picked it off.
It was because it looked like the girl on the train. It was like a marketeer's dream, and obviously why they called it that.
And Pip is a marketeer's dream.
Yeah.
One of the things that I found really fascinating about it is that the girl in question, Ali, is a trans woman. And so she's 18 and there's so much around that subject. Now, that can either work really well or go quite wrong if it's not dealt with correctly. I thought it was dealt with brilliantly.
Amazingly, yeah.
And also actually really deeply affecting, because when you start to know who the killer is one of the killers quite early.
It doesn't really change, does it? No.
We won't spoil that bit yet. Yeah. We will later. What are your initial, just general thoughts about it afterwards?
I think one of the main things I thought about was I really liked the way they showed the different reactions and relationships with Ali and her, obviously being a trans woman, how they embraced it or not in other people's case, and the different characters, especially looking at age and stuff like that as well. I thought that was approached really well. Well,
it's quite interesting because you have, and this isn't really a spoiler, a member of the family who, after she finds out about Ali's death, actually tells a story on how she thought that her parents had done the wrong thing. And actually also, this is the one thing I will say, sometimes I felt like Cath Staincliffe was throwing everything at this book. Ali is looked after just by her father Steve with her younger sister Tegan, because her mum's died a few years ago, so that was kind of, I felt like that was like another strand, which actually occasionally detracted me slightly from the story. But then I suppose it showed why he needed his family around him, because Steve's sister Emma is really, really quite
horrible. She's just not accepting, is she, really?
She's not. I think it's more she hasn't allowed herself to be sort of open to the education around the subject of trans.
She's just not open at all to looking at it.
But also then, not only in the family, but as we go on, there is a police officer who is also one of the most prejudiced, bigoted, vile characters.
But that character was painted so well as well.
I mean, there was occasion where I thought it was slightly cliched in the fact that character hated any minority whatsoever. But then that did help with one of the other characters. Well, yeah, because one of the police officers is a minority character as well. So, and he's quite racist towards her. And what I loved about this actually was the fact it's set in Manchester, and it felt really real and quite gritty and quite. There's a northernness to it that I can't quite put my finger on. I think if you're northern, you know it. Yeah. Overall, initially, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I absolutely raced through it. I think, one of the quickest books I've read this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I just raced through it. Overall, really enjoyed it.
I only read it over 3 days, so I went through it really quick because I put a picture up on Instagram. I was like, I'm starting this now because I'm seeing Pip in 2 days. And people are like, I can't believe you're reading it now. But I knew I would whiz
it was my holiday read, actually.
Oh, really?
So maybe that's why I read it so quick, because I was just lounging by a pool, but you know.
I'll just throw that in there. I'm going to mention a couple of quibbles. Because for me, this was like a 3.5 out of 5.
I gave it 4 out of 5.
Well, I gave it 4 out of 5 on Goodreads, to be fair. The reason for that is, one, I did occasionally, like I said, feel like there was quite a lot of stuff thrown at it. Like, there's a detective called No, I'm thinking of the female
Jade.
lead, and I've only finished it today. There's two. This is the problem that I did have. There's a lot of characters
Yeah, there is
telling
a lot.
you a lot of kind of perspectives on it. I want to say it began with D.
Donna?
Donna, there we go. There's a thing that happens with Donna's family, and I was like, that's another thing,
Another
and it
thing
doesn't
that's it,
need
yeah.
to kind of happen.
Yeah.
Because actually, when Cath Staincliffe is writing about the murder and the killers and that whole story, she's really, you are gripped by it because you're also really horrified by it.
Yeah, oh god, absolutely. The scenes of, obviously, well, again, not going into a lot of detail, but I think the scene of the killing
Yeah.
was really graphic, but but good in a way. Like, you know, it was painted really well, but it was fairly graphic.
When you say something like that is good, what you mean is, or what I'm assuming you mean, because it's how
Not
I
that
feel
I
about
really
it.
like it.
No, but like it's good because it's like a proper
Yeah.
and you do really feel that, especially because Ali is going out for a night with her friends
Yeah.
to celebrate before she's going to go to university. I don't know if you felt like this, but Ali felt like a fully formed, fleshed out, real character, even though.
She's only in it at the very start, alive. And
Well, yeah,
then-
exactly. So she's just not really in it, but yet
Yeah.
her character
kind of-
is so. Whereas a lot of the time, the
Yeah.
victim is just like the victim,
Yeah.
but you really felt like you knew her, which made it more emotive.
And
I think.
all her family and friends' feelings towards her as well.
Yeah. I did think there was possibly too many characters, or possibly too many perceptions. I didn't even notice there were chapters, because each chapter has a sub-chapter in it where it's told by the perspective of, there's Steve, who is Ali's father,
Their dad, yeah.
there's Donna, who is leading the
Police
yeah.
investigation.
Then you've got Jade, who is new on the team and really wanting to kind of
Yeah.
show that she's brilliant. Martin, who's this older policeman who's a bit, and
Yeah.
then you've got is there any other? Oh, then there's Sonia, who is
yeah.
the mother of the killer. But you know that really early on, so that isn't really a spoiler. But then it kind of, there is a twist that comes that I did actually go, oh, no.
Yeah.
So there's that element. But I did find that almost sometimes a little bit too much. I felt like you could have dropped one. Although actually, what I was thinking was, if I was going to drop any, it would have been the men. When I was reading the women, I was really, really into it. And then when I came to like Steve or Martin's chapter, I was like, oh, here we go.
See, that's funny, because what thing I was going to say is that usually police scenes or police chapters, I'm like a bit like that, like, oh, when you get to that character. But I actually really enjoyed those chapters in this book. I feel like the police scenes were set really well.
I would have liked, I think, if anything, I'm going to say this, and I say this very, very rarely, I would have liked it to have been a bit longer.
Yeah.
I would have liked more of Jade's past, because she's clearly got
Yeah.
quite a
A lot
dark,
going on,
difficult
yeah.
past. I think it would have worked more with Donna's family drama if there'd been more space for that.
Yeah.
So, we're going to start talking about spoilers now, so go away if you don't want to have spoilers, and then we'll do a comeback when we've talked about the spoilers. So, Pip,
Yes.
spoilers.
Spoilers.
Go for it.
So, I think we mentioned earlier, but I think obviously the killer, you pretty much find out throughout the middle of the book.
Well, one of them.
really. One of them, yeah. So that wasn't really any major reveal at the end. But one thing I will say is I was really unsatisfied with the ending, purely because I wanted to see what punishment that they got. So
Ooh, that's
yeah,
interesting.
so obviously it ends the fact that they get put down. Not
Well,
put
we should
down,
say,
oh my God.
but
They
we
get
should
sent down,
say,
I was meant
there's
to
a
say.
big twist that I didn't spot coming, which was that it's not just the killer that you're told about. It's not just Oliver, who
Yeah.
is Sonia's son.
Son.
It's also Martin, the policeman's
Yes,
son.
who's completely in on it.
Yeah. Now, that did two things for me. One, it made my jaw drop, but on the other hand, I thought, oh no, a little bit, because Martin then decides that he won't give his child in, or turn his child in, sorry.
So he tries to cover it up, doesn't
Yeah,
he?
and just there's this big, and they
Yeah.
try to make it a racial thing. And again, I kind of felt like, because it was about a guy who was living in the UK illegally, who basically witnessed the murder and wanted to help but didn't want to be found because then he would be deported.
Yeah.
Again, it was like, whoa, that's another
Another,
real
yeah,
social
yeah.
thing that you're throwing at me. And I get why Cath Staincliffe's doing it, and I think it's brilliant
Yeah,
that authors are
and
writing on
raising
behalf
issues,
of those
isn't it, yeah.
people and bringing those issues up. But I did just think, whoa.
Yeah.
And then when Martin like sort of decided that he was going to do Jade in,
Yeah,
I was
think,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, we've
And
gone
then
quite
that whole
extreme.
when Jade gets back to her apartment and he's there, and it's like, whoa, gone from being a police officer
And
to
she's
like
got
a...
gangster friends that don't make
Yeah.
sense. So that
Yeah.
bit is probably why it went down to a 3.5 for me, because I found it went a bit
crazy at the end.
over dramatic.
I was wanting more. I think you said earlier you wish it was longer, and I do. And I wish that we got a little bit more of that story at the end about what happened to
Yeah.
Oliver and Martin's son, really.
But also, I think as well, I would have liked. Jade's clearly got Now, I don't know if this is part of the series. I'm assuming it's not. And Cath Staincliffe has written a lot of books, which I would really. There's one that she's written about a potential bomb on a train, and you're trying to work out who the terrorist is out of this. And so I think she's writing about really, really interesting things. But I think there was possibly 3 subjects of 3 books in this book, which is brilliant when you're like turning the pages and you can't stop reading it. But at the end, I was like, but I think I want a bit more of the background and a bit less of the melodrama. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, you're throwing a lot, really, aren't you, throw?
And I definitely think I was drawn to her female characters way more than I was to her male characters.
I love Tegan, the little sister.
See, I found her really precocious.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you mean, but I mean, I really liked the fact that being so young as she was, but she was so accepting.
Yeah,
and that just shows a
that
lot
was
about
brilliant. Yeah,
society.
I agree, but she was a bit precocious.
Yeah.
But if I say that, Pip, you're allowed to disagree with me. You can turn around and say, Simon, you know nothing.
Oh.
Shut up.
No,
She often does
I
off camera.
actually kind of agree with you, but I meant more her viewpoint was really quite refreshing.
And I agree with you on that.
Okay.
How beautiful is that? You can come back now. Come back. So I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I would like to have been a little bit longer, possibly either less. I think if it had been longer, the amount of characters wouldn't have been such an issue.
Yeah, or maybe kept the same length but less characters.
Yeah, or less
going on.
less extra
Some
dramas of
stories,
each character, because
Yeah.
I felt like every single character had to have a kind of twisty drama attached to
their
them.
own little drama going on.
And either I wanted more of it or not it to be there.
Yeah.
That's how I'd put it. But yeah, definitely, I would definitely read more Cath Staincliffe, would you?
Yeah, oh definitely, yeah.
I definitely want to read the one about the train.
Read. See, I don't know much about her other. I need to have a little look into
That's
it.
the only one that I know, really.
Yeah.
So that is our read. Let us know in the comments down below what you thought of it, and I'm sure we will both get back to you in due course.
Ooh.
What's our next read? It's The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I'm going to read the blurb because I can't memorise what it's about and I'm being dreadful. But it says, somebody's going to be murdered at the ball tonight. It won't appear to be a murder, and so the murderer won't be caught. Rectify that injustice and I'll show you the way out. It's meant to be a celebration, but it ends in tragedy. As fireworks explode overhead, Evelyn Hardcastle, the young and beautiful daughter of the house, is killed. But Evelyn will not die just once until Aidan, one of the guests summoned to Blackheath for the party, can solve her murder. The day will repeat itself over and over again, every time ending with the fateful pistol shot. The only way to break this cycle is to identify her killer, but each time the day begins again, Aidan wakes in the body of a different guest, and someone is desperate to stop him ever escaping Blackheath. I think this is going to be ace.
I do, I'm really
like a proper
excited
curl
by
up
it.
over Christmas and get really, really into it. It's done amazing things and been raved about.
So, yeah.
I think it's just won one of the National Book Awards in the UK. And I know that Waterstones had it as one of their books of the month. It's out in paperback too, this is the hardback. So that is what we'll be reading and hopefully talking about in January. Yeah, so the video will go live towards the end of January. And hopefully we may even have a special guest talking about it with us, so that'll be fun. Who could it be? We're not telling you. Thanks for coming back, Pip.
That's okay, thanks for having me.
And thanks for saying you're going to come back for 2019. I was worried. I thought she was going to come up with a ride like, only if there's blue Smarties and puppies in the house.
Well, we haven't negotiated my rider yet anyway.
So we will speak to you very, very soon.
We will.
Bye.
Bye. Okay.
The giggles are in now, hang on.